All right, what is going on, fans of the UAPB? And this is Matthew Metacross here with my partner, Spazzy, and we will be
Hey,
doing your power rankings for the post draft. So I guess we'll just start off with my number 12, which is the Nebraska Neuburns. Now, the team name is close to my heart, but the planes burn, we lit on fire, and this team is no different. The only fire switches this team has is T-Tar and Alomomola, which most fire types get fighting coverage, and Alomomola is setup fodder, so I'm really worried a team with an offensive fire type will run through this team. But, Spazzy, what was your number 12?
hold on, let me just get it up right now. For my number 12, I put Genova Garatinas. Now, the Genova Garatinas, I mean, in my honest opinion, I don't really like it. It's just not really much speed in there. I mean, we have Garchomp and Chinchino and a bit of Delibird there.
There's the two swords are both 108.
Yeah, we have the two swords there, but most of it just seems like bulk and stall.
Like,
doesn't
okay, so
it's gonna.
this was a huge discrepancy between us. I had them at, I believe, 5, and the reason I liked the team was because they could run it, offensive or defensive, better than most teams in this league. So it's harder to prep for, I thought. The fact that they could run both offensively so well and defensively so well. Also, if you look at their core, offensively, they have 3 amazing answers to steel types. So toxics are going to be flying everywhere. It was just something I saw. Like, steel types can't come in well, so toxics are going to be a lot easier to get down.
Yeah, it does deal with steel types, so in my opinion, I didn't like this. I'm just not a fan of stall. I think that's really it. I mean, it's got magic bounce and 2 spinners.
Yeah, the removals,
right?
The removal's there, but I mean, it's not really hazard weak, so they don't really need the removal.
Yeah, they don't really need it.
So, anyways, where did you have the Neuverns, by the way?
For the Neuverns, I don't know why I put it in 4th place. I kind of liked it.
These 2 teams, interestingly enough, we had like our 12s. I had your 12 and 5, and you had my 12 and 4th, I think. So, looking at this, you can just kind of see these post drafts are going to be so different, and that's how most post drafts are. But
yeah,
I think you're going to see as we go. I think as you see, we're going to go on through this season. They're just going to get closer, and eventually we'll agree by the end of the season who the best teams are. And also, little disclaimer here, coaches: if you see your name at the bottom and you want to move it up, just prove me wrong. And if you're number 1, prove me right. That's all I'm gonna say about that. Anyways, I guess we should move on with your number 11, Spazzy.
My 11th? Okay. For my 11th place, I put Washington Weaviles.
I also had them at number 11, so we agreed on something.
Now, the way it has lack of hazard removal, but it's not really that needed, so it's not much of an issue. I mean, it does, however, it's a slow but powerful team.
Okay, I hate to interject, but why did you think they were so powerful? Because I saw Big Hitter Lando, Big Hitter. I saw, maybe I'm remembering the team wrong, but I remember seeing Big Hitter Lando, Big Hitter in a Houndoom, and not much else offensively.
Look at the draft here. So Washington Weavile has Thunderous, Melodic,
Landorus, not Thunderous.
Minetric, Did I say thunderous?
Eh, same
But
family. Anyways,
it has hard hitters like Houndoom, Ninetales, Hitmonchan, Koopa. That's why I said it has a powerful team. Those are some hard hitters. Like if you look at those offensive stats, actually really good.
I overlooked that Hoopa when I was looking through somehow. Yeah, that's huge. That changes my opinion actually entirely. I didn't, but okay. The reason I don't like their lack of removal is because they have a Sun Core. A Sun Core without great removal is hard to bring because it's just
it does have Sun, has Houndoom and Ninetales. That
Both
stuff
of
is
which-
gonna.
both of which are weak to rocks, and he doesn't have the best removal. And Hitmonchan, I believe, is his only remover.
I also said it was slow because I mean, look at it. Landers isn't that slow. It can run Scarf.
Well, Houndoom's 115, isn't it?
I think so. That's actually pretty fast.
Yeah, Houndoom's really fast. Surprisingly fast.
Same with Ninetales. Ninetales is pretty fast. Minetrix is I always say that. Minetric is pretty fast too.
I
mean, it's Milotic, Porygon, and Kecleon.
Okay, something I want to say about this team, the potential they have to make some transactions and improve this team is tremendous. They have 220 leftover points. That's insane. Like,
yeah, that's actually all I have here.
Like
much physical presence. I mean, you can run physical Koopa and physical Credilli. We have Kecleon, Gyarados. Actually, why did I say no? Marchand, but the rest is really just special.
Yeah, but
I don't even know why I said that, but whatever. It kind of makes sense.
I like the team. I just thought the potential it had just kind of fizzled out. But his transaction potential is so huge that I could see this team skyrocketing.
Oh yeah, I also should mention that he has webs in Gyarados.
That's a good
so
point.
That can actually help out with his slow but powerful team.
All right.
Gyarados there kind of saved him from getting being unable to revenge kill and getting swept. He could switch. He could try to revenge kill, but his Pokemon are too slow.
Here's the thing I don't like about that pick. This is the only reason I don't like that pick. If I'm not mistaken, I believe when he made the Ariados pick, not only could he afford to pick up Dragonite, it was still on the board. And that could have
did he not pick it?
Anyways, Dragonite, that was still left on the board.
Wow, I'm surprised he didn't get it. It can actually benefit his slow team and add more power to it. And possibly more physical presence.
Yeah, it gives him the physical presence we were talking about, gives him a Dragon Dance Sweeper, gives him some insanely good priority as well. Also, I mean, it would add to an ice weakness, possibly, but that could have been patched up. And
that could be patched up with. Well, he has Milotic.
Both Lotties
Houndoom too. So
I mean, he could have picked up a tier 1 dragon instead of Ariados, and that's the reason I really didn't like the Ariados pick.
Also note that the laddies were also there.
Yeah,
but as I said, physical presence could have helped more. He could have also used a setup sweeper. He doesn't have any notable setup sweepers other than like Sword Stance or Bulk Up Hitmonchan, which could work. I mean,
Rock Polish,
Nasty Plot, Ninetales,
Rock Polish Lando is
Polish Lando. That one's a big one. That actually works too. Forget what I just said about the setup sweepers.
Double Dance Lando.
Double Dance though.
Lando's could be a great setup sweeper, but you don't want to run it as a setup sweeper every week, so that's the issue with it, I find. If it's your main setups source.
Yeah, if that's your main setup sweeper, then.
Because then it prevents you from running things like Scarf, Bulky with Rocky Helmets.
is really needed, because if you don't set up beforehand, though.
Yeah, I just see the Lando getting be versatile as it could.
Yeah, but honestly, I see potential in this team. You could make a few transactions and pound Doom and Ninetales somewhere on the.
Yeah, that could be. So, anyways, let's move on. That was both of our number 11s. My number 10
Surprisingly.
was Soda Monfernos, and I remember I got a lot of hate for putting this here, but you look at the Monfernos and
Monfernos in first place.
Yeah, this is a huge difference. But the reason I put Minnesota so low is because they've got Rotom, but outside of that, their ice resists are Bronzong, which doesn't come every week. Regice, which definitely doesn't come every week, and Infernape. So let's say,
don't forget that Rotom Wash.
Like I said, besides Rotom Wash. And so,
you said that?
say someone brings in a Weavile, right? With Natural Gift Ground, or is Weavile that Team Z captain? If so, then it can run Z Dig. So, Weavile realistically needs to take out the Infernape and it sweeps. Or say someone has their Mamo. I think Mamo does get Natural Gift, so it runs Natural Gift Grass, takes out the Rotom, and sweeps his team. This is the problem I have with this team. He has so many times where an Ice type, he'll only have one good check to it. And if that check goes down, he gets swept.
Yeah, I actually see where you're coming from here.
And then also, someone else brought up hazard removal. I mean, he's got
hazard removal. It has
forms of it, but none of them are the greatest. Ments,
like
don't want to
hazard
be
removal. We have like Braviary, Claydol, and Salamence, I believe.
Yeah.
Does Braviary get defog?
Braviary does. Braviary can be a good.
Braviary's not the greatest defogger. Braviary's more of just to get in there, set up possibly, and hit hard. Salamence just does not
work as a
appreciate
defogger.
And the only decent rapid spinner here is Claydol.
I mean, Claydol, it works at rapid spinning, but that's it. It only rapid spins, and that's the problem I have with it.
Not really that good. It can set up rocks and rapid spin, but it doesn't have much of a role other than just toxicking. But either way, I actually like this team. Well, for a few reasons.
Well, we can come back to that later when we get to your number 1, I guess. So, anyways, this is just my thing. We can come back and just like see how far we are apart, and then when we get up to your number 1, we can explain that.
Yeah.
So, what was your number 10?
Oklahoma City Thunderous.
Let's see. Okay. This one's pretty close. I had them at number 9.
Oh. So, Oklahoma City Thunderous. The team here, really a little interesting. At first I said it's very low in speed until I actually looked at it. And boy was I wrong. Like, we have Arcanine, Gallade, Mew, Dragon Dance Zygarde, Tapu Koko, Greninja. Like, why Ancestile? Why did I say that?
I have a feeling you were probably looking at. Don't we have two teams that have similar names, and then that might have got you or something? I'll bet you were looking at the other team that had almost the exact same name, but oh no, okay, so he doesn't. Oh well. Anyways,
I was probably just looking at just some of the Pokemon there that are just like, wow, those are slow.
Like Serena, Quillfish, Drifloon. You probably looked at those three and
actually
immediately thought slow.
Can actually be that can actually be scarfed too, and it can be
Yeah,
very fast.
it can end up being pretty fast, but your first off speed is slow. Like it's a good surprise scarfer, but it's not a good consistent scarfer. You know?
Yeah, one thing I noticed is that there's no setup sweepers, but there's no actual wall breaker.
Okay, Choice Band Zygarde and Mega Gallade can both be wall breakers.
Wall breakers, and Galley can also be a setup sweeper, but
both those can be setup sweepers or wall breakers, but the reason, because I had them in the number 9 slot, is also OKC Thunderous, and the reason I had them at 9 was because I'm worried that if he can use Mew well, I can see this team launching into 2 or 1 easily. I'm worried that he's going to launch stick Mew in a certain role, because you look at his team. A lot of these things can be insanely bulky, but don't want to be. With the exception of Driftle and Quillfish, but I don't think he's going to be bringing those a lot.
Bulky Quillfish.
The question is going to be, how comfortable is he with Serena? If he's insanely comfortable with Serena,
then he could actually do a lot of stuff.
Then all of a sudden, you get unlocked, and this team is really good. But if
I kind of hesitated putting him at number 10, but
this is the team I was the least sure about, because he could be any spot 10 to 1.
But I still stand at my point that there's so many setup sweepers, and there's not many wall breakers. You can run a Mew wall breaker, but
a lot of these things can be wall breakers, but don't want to be. Like, that's the whole thing with his entire team. When I look at his team, I think of one phrase, not word, and that phrase is Jack of all trades, master of none. Because I'm looking at his team. He doesn't have anything that's... Okay, Gallade hits insanely physically hard. But with the exception of Gallade, he doesn't have an absolute wall breaker. He doesn't have an absolute sweeper.
Stat is absolutely huge. Zygarde can be a potential setup sweeper with like Coil or DD.
See, that's what I'm saying. It can be, but it's not
Isn't
always,
wall breaker
and it's
with
not
like special
best.
life orb, or physical.
Like, this is what I'm saying. His team has a ton of versatility, but if he brings the wrong set, none of them are good enough at what they do that the opponent can't play around them. Like, he has to bring the right set on each mon each week. If he plays it perfectly, this could be the best team. If he doesn't play it well, he could end up in number 12. This team is hard to predict. I don't know.
Like, now, the issue here, his team is actually okay. Now, it's a matter of how well he plays.
Yeah.
If he doesn't play that well, then it's not gonna be that.
That's with all teams, but it's especially this one. Because this was the team that was just like...
It could cost everything.
That's the reason. I looked at this team and I thought...
This season, he's going to need to play I can't talk.
This is the team that I can see jumping to the top 3 week 1 just because he 6-0 someone. I could also see him dropping to 12 because he gets 6-0'd. We just have to see what happens.
Getting into the kill leaderboard too. His Serena is like...
Okay, anyways.
probably the...
Let's move on to what was your number 9?
Number 9 was Bristol City Bonnets.
Okay, that was my number 1 seed, so what do you have to say about this?
Okay, so it has good hazard. I started putting them this low.
Okay, something else.
I wanted to put them up a little.
Okay, something I want to say real quick. All these teams are insanely good. It was really hard for me to rank them. I honestly had so much trouble ranking these teams.
But
Anyways, go on. Go on. My bad.
a few things here. It has a decent speed tier. I mean, Decidueye's not that fast. Necrozma can be fast. We have Ditto, Glaceon, if that's even fast. I'm not even sure Amaldo is. We have Heatran, that could be Scarf, Togekiss. Pretty nice speed tier here.
Yeah, they're balanced, which is something I look for in speed tiers, is for them to be balanced. Not necessarily that they're super fast, just that they're balanced. Also, don't forget the Mega Latios is 110.
Yeah, it also has good hazard control. Personally, I just didn't like it. It's same with my number 12 spot. I just didn't really like it. It wasn't as much a stall.
Yeah.
Of bulk in some offense. One issue here is that he has Togekiss. I don't like Togekiss. But
is that because of the flinches, or you just don't like it as a mon itself?
I don't like the flinches or the mon. Like, I love using it, but I just don't like them on.
It's like a Raji. Fun to use, hate to face.
That's like
Anyways.
every Haxmon. But
yeah.
I just didn't.
It and Raji are the two best.
You have teams like Rice and Minnesota. As you know, I've actually really liked them, but Crystal City Brunettes and Genova Garantinas, I didn't really like theirs that much, but
anyways.
Yeah, and the team is pretty bulky though. We have Glaceon, which could be like pretty bulky. We have Vaporeon. And Necrozma. Like, that's pretty bulky.
Okay. Then moving on to my number 8 is a team I really don't know what to say about, and this is something weird. It was a Crimson Aussies team in the Geelong Torracats. Now, first off, this thing he's got insanely good wall breakers, which is something amazing. By the way, where did you have the Torracats?
The Geelong Torracats, that's the right one, right?
Yep.
I had that in 6th place, and yes, one of the reasons why is because of Sneasel. He put that on the dock. I was just like, Sneasel.
Something weird is, I'm looking at his speed tiers. They're clumps.
Like, we have it's decently fast or it's just not fast.
I mean,
like, we have
you've got Hydreigon and Shandy in the mid tiers, which is good, but he comes
and then all of a sudden it transitions into like Donphan and again Sneasel. Wait, Sneasel's actually pretty fast, but
Sneasel's insanely fast, dude. 115, I think.
Yeah. But then we have like Gastrodon and Magearna.
Yeah, like the speed gap was so big. The speed tiers are so weird on this team, and so I don't know. Like, I think he's gonna have to run Scarpers, and I think teams are gonna be able to run Adamant and Modest against him, which means even though his bulk is good, they're gonna be taking 10% more each hit, which is something I'm scared for this team about. On the other side of the coin, Magearna is a monster.
Yeah, Magearna in this.
And then Mega Metacham, Nihilego.
Like, you already just drafted 2 monsters. 3 actually with an Nihilego.
And then Hydreigon.
Not as much as the monsters.
And then Donphan hits like a truck. Shandy hits like a truck. Heliolisk hits like a truck. Gastrodon's defensive.
Well, Helios kinda. Gastrodon's a really good wall.
You run that thing specs, it hurts. And Banded Sneasel is a monster. Sawsbug not so much. And then Banded Hustle Durant can hit.
That is just that's so a scary thing to imagine.
It's so this team is, in my opinion, is all about how much he wants to risk. If he risks everything on Medicham clicking a high jump kick, Medicham clicking a Zen, Durant coming in and hitting a hustle move. By the way, something interesting to note for other leagues. This is just a point of advice. If you ever draft a rant, put it as a Z move mon because you can run it with hustle. It gets the boost and then it doesn't lose its accuracy. Irrelevant to this league, just something I wanted to note about Durant. Anyways, depending on how much he's willing to risk with this team, he can take this so
the
far.
team's kind of like he could take it. Yeah, as you say, he could take it so far, but it has some risks here.
This is the team that defines high risk, high reward. Anyways, did we talk about your number 8 yet?
My number 8. No, we did not.
All right.
For my number 8 spot, I put New York Glice Scores.
All right. Which I had in the number 2 spot.
Oh.
So why did you have them in 8?
So it doesn't really have that many wall breakers or win cons. I mean, we have one in Gardevoir Mega, which seems like enough. Ninetales Alola is pretty good.
Okay.
Zebstrika.
Win con Manaphy. Manaphy is the best win con.
I don't even know why I don't. I mean, I just didn't look at any that seemed to pop out to me. But Manaphy, who's a Z user?
Manaphy. I think he decided on that for Z Rain Dance. Z Rain Dance is amazing, and it gets the coverage, and yeah.
Yeah, he made a good choice choosing that because Z Rain Dance are like.
I mean, the only other
against Minnesota Monfernos. I already have a set in mind, but he doesn't have to. I'm not even gonna say it.
Oh yeah. I already thought of that earlier. Yeah, we're probably thinking of the exact same set too, which is kind of funny. But anyways, yeah, I'll get back to them later as to why I had them so high. So, what did you have for your number 7?
My number 7, I put Hamilton Torcats. There are 2 Torcats in this league, but
yes, that could end up being confusing. And I had that my number 3. So
wow, ours is just
so very, very different. By the way, guys, we did not look at each other's, or at least I didn't look at his before doing this. So a lot of this is just like surprising us, which is kind of the way I like it. Which is the way I like it because it's just kind of like more real, more honest, and that's kind of what I want for you guys. Anyways, go on.
So the first thing I know is when I look at the Hamilton Torcats, it has huge offense.
Megalopunny.
Yeah, we have Megalopony. We have Sheer Force Darmanitan, even Sheer Force Rampardos. Wallbreaker and Gengar. We have Weavile here.
Swallow's a monster.
Swallow's a monster indeed. Shaman could be pretty bulky. It also has its mix of bulk here, but Feeny and Gudra and Fortress and maybe a little bit of Electros and Shaman, but other than that, his team is just full of not so bulky offensive Pokemon.
Okay, so something I decided to do was, just so I remember this for later, I decided to start looking around at some of the teams. And if you look at it, at least 5 of these teams, if not more, don't have a Mon to switch into, don't have a bulky Psychic type that can switch in consistently.
Oh, really? That's actually true.
Like, just based on the league itself, not even the team, just based, I mean, Genova Giratina's, well, even then, no, because I was thinking Mega Sableye, no, that thing dies to a high jump kick, so.
Oh yeah, scrappy high jump kick. That,
yeah.
Well, the way I see it here, though, Hamilton is probably going to beat the Giratinas because of the matchup there.
Yeah, like, we can get into that. We can get into that in other situations, but we can get into that when we do pick'ems and stuff. But anyways, that's not the point. Like, you look around, the only way to beat a Lopunny is to try to use a bulky Psychic.
The bulky Psychic type actually just walls Lopunny so hard.
if it can live two double edges. And I only see 2 or 3 that can live 2 double edges besides Rachi, which can't live 2 high jump kicks. So, yeah, I think Mega Lopunny might just tear this league up. Anyways, moving on to my number 7, which was hold on a sec, my bad.
I feel you.
The Houston Reggie Rockets.
Rockets.
Now,
I had that at second place. And I was debating on whether or not I should put him in first or second, and I ended up in second.
Anyways,
but go on.
We look at the Reggie Rockets, and I thought this was an insanely good team. It was just, I think my 7 through 1, I could have put in any order. Like, that goes for all these teams, but especially the 7 through 1 were so tight to me. And it was, because, like, notes. I could have put them anywhere in that 7 through 1 spot. But anyways, moving on to the actual Mons. We had great defense and offense both, which was amazing. Like, you look at the Mons on their team, and you have stuff like Mega Venusaur, Crocodile, 2 Mons that can both be offensive or defensive. And then you've got Victini, Sylveon, Tentacruel, Haxorus, Exploud, Excelgor, Mimikyu, and Alolan Persian. Now, you look at this team, and the only problem I saw was the speed gap right after, I believe it was Crocodile. And that's what scares me about this
We have,
team.
like, Victini there, Venusaur, which is actually decently fast, Celesteela, which can...
So, you've got Celesteela and Mega Venusaur, which depends on the coach. Some coaches are comfortable running that fast, some aren't.
Sylveon's not really that fast. Crocodile's fast, but that's where it kind of goes downhill in speed.
Yep.
Haxorus, Mimikyu, and Persian, and oh yeah, don't forget that Excelgor though. It goes downhill for a second, and then it goes back up with a high speed.
Like,
his team is full of speed.
Like, there's so much speed that a Trick Room can beat it. A lot of things get to run Adamant, like a Nidoking gets to run Modest, Life Orb with a lot of bulk, and that's terrifying.
That's gonna run through. But I didn't see much wrong with this team there. And it also has Pursuit Trap, which can help out there. Pack of Rockers.
Or Adamant, I guess. But
yeah.
Now,
he has powerful Wall Breaker though.
I mean, he's got great offense. Like,
yeah, that offense is actually scary with a mix of some defense as well.
That's
Tentacruel and Sylveon. But I don't see many physically defensive things. I see Tentacruel, Sylveon, and...
Well, okay, Steela and Venu. A problem he might have is he has to run one of them as a physically offensive wall each week. But the good thing is, the other one is free. Every week, just because he drafted both. Also, Sylveon's an excellent Wish Passer into Steela.
If you watch Rice's recent video, wow, I'm having a hard time there. If you watch his recent video, you will see in his thought process that he drafted Sylveon mainly because of Wish Pass, and that's his favorite thing to do.
Yep. I mean, Wish Passing into Celesteela is something Celesteela always needs, and I think he did draft very well around Celesteela. But I'm just worried that speed tier gap could end up being very bad for him. But anyways, moving on. What did you have in the? I believe we are on the 7th spot right now. 12, 11,
I already did 7th place, I think.
8.
Hamilton Torcats, yeah.
Oh yeah, we.
So let's work
that.
on 6th place.
We discussed that earlier. So
So
I
my
still have to
6th
discuss-
place.
Hold on, we didn't get to my 7th somehow, which was the LA Lake Guardians. I don't know how we skipped over that, but anyways, in 7th I had the. Hold on, let me count this again to make sure I'm right. 1, 2, 4. 5. Oh, I did just do 7. My bad. So go on with your number 6. I can't count. I'm sorry.
It's okay, I can't either. So for my 6th place, I put Geelong Torcats.
All right.
We already talked this over, so if you want to see
So-
all that talk and stuff, you could just go all the way back to
Why
when we
did
first
you?
talked about
So
it.
my question: why did you put them over teams like the Bayonets, like the Gliscors? Why did you have them as high up as you did?
Well, the Bayonets, I actually just didn't like that team at all. You might have liked it a lot, but
no, I
that's
know,
just
but like,
not
why
me.
did you discussing the Torcats? Why did you have them up in top half? Why did you like them enough to have them up in the top half?
Well, I actually don't really know much myself here. I really like his team, but as you said, it has gaps. Here, it's either fast or slow. But it actually has some really... is actually kind of... It's kind of the way I like it. It's like mix of bulk and offense here, and some monsters here that he has, like Durant, Donphan.
Donphan, it depends if he's willing to run it offensively. If he slaps Donphan defensively, I don't think it's going to do much for him from week to week, besides just being some hazard removal for Shandy. But if he's willing to run like Choice Band or Rock Polish Donphan, then it'll put in a ton of work for him, just throwing that out there.
Yeah. One thing I see here is because he has more slow members than fat. Actually, does he? Chandelier could be like...
It's about 50-50. Yeah, Chandelier...
It's about 50-50. It depends on which half he wants to run.
Like, he could run a balanced team, he could run... Like, something I like about his slow things is that he does have Magirna, which is an excellent trick receiver.
I was about to talk about trick room. It depends on which half he wants to bring. If he wants to bring the fast offense, well, he doesn't need like trick room.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Are
if
you
he wants to
familiar?
run slow but powerful, he can run the trick room variant, which could be very good.
Well, I assume you're familiar with Pokemon. Did you see his NPA battle where he literally brought half trick room, half speed? This is a team that could do that and do it so well that could just run over a team if he decided to go that route. Where he just brings like 3 super speedy things and then a Trick Room Agirna, a Choice Banded Donphan, and say a Gastrodon to stoke up some heads.
Yeah. So that was my number 6 spot.
Alright, then my 6th spot, I believe I had the Los Angeles Lake Guardians. Where did you have them?
Los Angeles Lake Guardians. I put them in 3rd place.
Alright, so first thing I had with the Lake Guardians was, let me make sure, yeah. So, okay, I wrote something. Okay, never mind. Okay, so this team had Kieran Black, Azumarill,
I already see something good here with Dragon Priest Steel Core that they first drafted. Kieran Beast, Scar, and Azumarill.
excellent
2
core.
hard hitters and
then you throw in
say?
Entei and Webs. The Webs make this team so perfect because it had trouble outspeeding certain things with the exception of subtitle. Like,
Then
you
you
get something
could
that can
run
take
like Scarf Entei, but who runs that? But
yeah. Well, I mean, it's got banded extreme speed. Why do you need that? But
that.
you're looking at it. First off, there's no Lele in this league. I do believe we banned Lele. Is that correct?
Yes, I think so. I did not check, but I'm
Scrolling through, no one drafted it, so I'm assuming it's banned.
banned.
So
Lele is actually really strong, so I can
it's a
see why.
monster. It's a monster. I know why they banned it, but I had it in the league and ran through the league. Anyways,
Why?
so you look at this team. They've got such good priority.
It's
They've got
got,
Azumarill.
it's got such power too.
They've
And
got
that just
power.
makes it even better.
Yeah, there's nothing an opponent can really do to stop this team's offense. So they have to bring a Scarfer that can live a banded Aqua Jet, a banded Extreme Speed. I
Did Aqua Jet, a banded extreme
Anything.
speed, a banded outrage from Kieran B after webs are up, and just destruction.
Yeah, so say you bring, going back to who had the Terrakion. Anyway, so say whoever that was brings a Scarf Terrakion against him to make sure he can outspeed a QRMB under webs or an Entei under webs. That can't live a banded extreme speed. I mean, a banded Aqua. Just
now for me all of a sudden.
it's all right. So, I mean, you just look around.
Nah, it's fine.
Nothing is good enough to break this team that can still take a hit. And then you got Skarmory, which is the best hazard, some of the best hazard removal in the game, that Cure and the Entei.
Hazard thing too.
Yeah,
One thing I see here, defog.
well, you got Stoice. If you
At
need
least
to
you
run
have
spin.
2 hazard removal there for
Yeah,
different
if you need to
causes
run,
here.
if you need to run spin, you can bring Blastoise.
Yeah, I like what he did there. Having
Because
having a spinner and a defogger
things-
with the webs actually seems to make a little sense.
if you don't need the webs, you can just run Skarm and then set up, because that's probably going to be his main non-webs hazard setup. The only other one is Seismitoad and Weezing with Toxic Spikes. So that's going to do a lot for him. So, I mean, what issue you might have is 4 move slot syndrome on his Skarm, because he needs Roost every game, obviously. He needs Rocks every game to break Sashes for this team, because this team needs Sashes broken, if you look at it. Like Azumarill, Kieran Black, Entei, any of those need their Sashes broken. So he has to bring hazards, he has to bring Roost. Half the time he'll have to bring Defog. And say he brings one attacking move, he might not be able to fit phasing on there. That's going to be tough for him. Anyways, moving on, because we are getting pretty long here. What did you have for your number 5?
5, I put none other than the Pittsburgh Pirate I cannot say that.
Pirate.
Pittsburgh Pirate was there. And yes, I put none other than the old man Tup at number 5 and not any
Our
higher.
resident legend. I had him at number 4, so relatively close there. Anyways,
here's one issue here. He has Jirachi. You know what I don't like.
okay.
That kind of I would want him a little higher, but come on, he has Jirachi. That's a stupid reason, but whatever. It's Jirachi.
So
He has a fine mix of both and offense with Arena Trap, even with Doug Trio.
something I want to add on. Take a look at his team real quick. Go to the GBA and look at Mono's team. It's almost exactly the same. Tup took some notes from Mono in the GBA.
No,
And I think
he's
it's enough
actually.
for him.
I don't know, is he doing good?
He is. He's second, I think, maybe third.
He's doing pretty well. I'm taking notes.
He's doing. Yeah. So you look at that, but then he throws on a Mega Altaria, which is probably the most diverse Mega. It's hard to bring the right. If you do, it's Rex House.
Yeah.
He has a Hitmonlee for hazard removal, which some people don't like Hitmonlee. I personally love Hitmonlee as hazard removal, especially on a team that.
Yeah, I'm okay with Hitmonlee. It's not my favorite, but I like it.
It's so scary when it comes in that you rapid spin because so few things can take a high jump kick. Because Reckless is the thing. They also have Torkoal if he wants to go that route with his hazard removal. So
he also has a Yamega there. Yamega is actually a really good Pokemon there with like Life Orb.
Now the problem with that is the Rock's weakness, but like you just said with the hazard removal, it's not bad. It's not bad hazard removal.
Or team at all. It's even the slightest bit of weak to rocks.
Okay,
I really recommend
Toxic Spikes. Toxic Spikes could hurt him a lot, with the exception of Rachi, because he also does not have a poison type. Wait, he does have Roserade. Never mind. He has Roserade, so never mind. I take that
never mind. Scratch that.
I mean, if he doesn't bring Roserade, but still, I do like Tup's team here. I do like Tup's team here. It works. I like it too. Checked off his boxes. One issue could be his Fairy Dragon Steel Core includes Altaria as both a fairy and a dragon, which is something I personally don't like. I kind of feel like you want to run Altaria as your fairy, then pick another dragon. But I mean, dragon is probably the least essential part of Fairy Dragon Steel as well. So, and then but anyways, moving on. My number 5 was something we talked about earlier with the Genova Giratinas. Now, we talked about this quite a bit. We talked about this team quite a bit earlier. Now, the reason I just kind of wanted to say why I had it up so much higher than you did was that if you look at the team, this team screams Toxic Stall to me.
Yeah, it actually does.
But
and
then
Stall
you look at,
is just.
But then you look at it. He's got a direct, a Garchomp, a Cobalion. So few steel types can come on this team. Like, he might have trouble dealing with the Celesteela, fair enough. But then he's also got the Rotom Frost, which hits it pretty hard if it's scarfed. I mean,
once that's gone, he really has nothing for Celesteela.
Yeah, Celesteela. Well, Skarmory's not.
Skarmory's not a big threat, but Celesteela.
Skarmory's not really offensive.
Celesteela, if he's out of mind, it could hurt him.
Celesteela could run through his team. However, there's Garchomp, which gets Fire Blast, so he's got options. Terrakion, Z Stone Edge does a lot, so he's got options.
It really does.
No matter what, he's got options. So if he wants to embrace the stall, he can set up his team to stall out another team. Especially since this is Showdown or not Wi-Fi, there's no timer. He can't get timer stalled.
This is probably going to be seeing the two teams of Houston Regirocks and Genova Giratinas team. The battles are probably going to be over 100.
Yeah. Like, if this was a Wi-Fi league, I'm not gonna lie. In a Wi-Fi league, I'd hate his team. I think he'd get timer stalled every week. Since this is a Showdown league, this team could end up stalling several teams out, and I kind of love that.
That is actually pretty cool. I don't. And now looking at it, I only kind of regret putting them at the very bottom, but
so
really not a playstyle I like people using.
I mean, I don't personally like using stall, but if stall works, but you know,
It works for the other
for
person. That's fine.
if it works for you, use it. Anyways, moving on to my number 4, Pittsburgh Piratas. We just talked about him a lot. We won't go too in depth with him. I just want to say, I've seen you for years. This is my favorite draft you've ever had, especially with that. Especially with the which pick was it that just really brought things together? It was the Suicune, because the only issue he has is something we neglected to bring up earlier is between Jolt is he has slight speed tiering issues besides the Jolt. Brings him Tailwind. Suicune brings him Scald. Suicune brought this team together so well that I think that Suicune is the glue that will keep this team from take it from being a mid-pack team to a potential number 1 team. And I just want to say, excellent job, Tup. So what did you have in your number 4?
For my number 4, I had Nebraska Neuring.
All right, so
I think I already went over the number 3, number 2 spots.
Let's see.
But Nebraska Neuverns, they built this. It has like defense and then offense. It's almost balanced, except one thing. It kind of lacks speed. Nidoking can be Scarf. Gardevoir's Scarf. Mamoswine's pretty fast. Cryogonal's fast. This is just really, really slow.
Something else to
So it's only about average speed.
Something else to mention with this is he does have excellent priority, and Mega Scissor are obvious
to fire types.
Yes, that's something. That was the reason I had him at my number 12. His massive fire weakness. But
like
you were
if
talking about the speed,
if Nidoking and Tyranitar are gone,
or even if
something that's faster than Mamoswine Cryogonal,
or
gone.
I mean, even so, I mean, he's got things to handle a fire. He can hit a fire type super effectively. But say he's coming up.
Yeah.
Say he's coming up against. I don't even think this was drafted, but a Blaziken, right? A Blaziken sets up an agility. Fighting type moves the Tyranitar. Let's say it's a double dance, right? If fighting type moves the Tyranitar, sets up on the Alomomola for days, and then proceeds to knock it out with its fighting move. It can spam fire coverage on the rest of Blaze's team. That's what I was so worried about when I saw this team. A setup Firemon,
too much
a
wrong
Scarf
with this
Firemon,
little speed,
like
that huge
Firemon,
weakness.
a Scarfed Firemon. Any Firemon that can handle T-Tar might be able to just run through his team, and that's something that's a little bit scary for me. Anyways,
type and stuff like Entei is going to possibly like a fighting type move. Does it get like superpower?
No, but it does get Bulldoze.
Oh yeah, Bulldoze could hurt. Focus Blast
or natural gift fighting, or natural gift fighting. But anyways, as you were saying with the speed, I didn't mind the speed as much for this reason. Look at his priority. There's only
it doesn't really need speed though.
Yeah, if you look at the league, only one priority stopper was drafted in Serena. Mega Scizor gets insane priority. Mamoswine, insane priority. Cryogonal, not the most insane priority, but it's an option. Conkeldurr, Mach Punch. Bisharp, Sucker Punch. There is so much priority on this team. Oh yeah, Nidoking gets Sucker Punch as well. There's so much priority on this team. He didn't need the speed.
Yeah. I overlooked the priority. For Mamoswine, Bisharp. And
but they all get insane priority. Same with Conkeldurr.
Insane priority, and it really works out for his team too.
Like, a fast team, more often than not, doesn't want to deal with the priority he gets. A slow team probably gets outsped by the likes of Mamoswine and Nidoking and can't run Trick Room against him because of his things like Amoonguss or his Conkeldurr. His team is set up well enough that I don't think speed can take advantage of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually all I had for Nebraska.
And then number 3 was Hamilton Torcats, which we talked a lot about this earlier, but I wanted to point out some of the other mons on this team. So first thing I had was they supported Lop amazingly, and the reason I say that is because first things first, they got Weavile, the best pursuit trapper, top 2.
You just completely cut off from me.
Sorry.
Like, you literally just cut off, but whatever.
Anyways, Weavile's top 2 pursuit trappers in league format. The only one that might beat it is Tyranitar. So, and then
you can just go on with the.
Right, I'm sorry, you cut out. Okay,
but
so we'll just edit this section out. Anyways, I'll start again with my pursuit trapping talk. So you look at the Megalop, it needs a great pursuit trapper. Weavile is an insanely good pursuit trapper, top 2 in my opinion. You could argue that Tyranitar and Absol are better, and maybe even Valley, because of the fact that you can run different types and stuff. But for Megalop, Weavile's better. But anyways, and then you've got the Goodra, which can tank the hits Megalop can't. You got Swallow, which you run it Scarf, which is weird to say, but anything that wants to outspeed Megalop, Swallow can beat. Also, it hits the fighting types that want to hit Lop super effectively and can take their moves. Electros, a great pivot into Lop Bunny. Gengar, a nice special hitter to complement the Megalop Bunny. Tapu Fini keeps Megalop from getting parried. Darmanitan is a massive hitter that can also pivot into Lop Bunny. And Rampardos is just a massive boomstick that also happens to be a rocker in case. And then there's Shaman, which is so versatile, you never know what Shaman's going to do. It can be aromatherapy to keep Megalop from getting status. It can be offensive. It can be scarfed. It can be defensive with Leech Seed. It's just, this team was built around Megalop so well that Megalop can sweep every week if he wants to.
Looking at it now, I really regret putting it where it is. I feel like I should have put it a lot higher. It also matches the kind of play style I like. Their offense is built around some defense to support the main core, which in this case would be Megalopony, which is what's pretty much built around.
Yeah, and that's...
Here, and I regret putting him at whatever I put him.
He's just Megalop is so insane, and when you build. Anyways, Megalop is just so insane that if you build a team around it that well, it's gonna put in some serious work. Anyways, what did you have for your number 3?
Mine. Yeah, I already gone through that. I think I also gone through my second place. All that stuff for me might be my first.
All right, list. What did you have for your number 3 and number 2?
My number 3 was LA the Guardian. My number 2 is Houston Reggie Rock.
Okay, can you explain why you had them so high, please?
Honestly, the way I like my teams are like
a
little bit
the
of
Reggie Rock.
The Reggie Rockets. So
I just liked. I had them very low. I had them very low.
I didn't really have much for it. The Houston Reggie Rocket has actually quite a bit. It's actually pretty good speed. Powerful wall breakers in Crocodile Haxorus. which Hacker is actually a sweeper, but however, has lack of rockers.
Ironic for a team called the Reggie Rockets. Crocodile's actually a decent rocker.
Yeah, that's only
spikes. Rocks aren't necessary.
I would say
against all the teams in this. Rocks aren't necessary against all the teams in this league. For example, Excelgor against spikes, and against a lot of these teams, spikes does just as much, if not more, than rocks.
Rock problem isn't really that bad, considering he has Excelgor, toxic spikes.
And he's got, like, he doesn't have rocks necessarily, but he's got other forms of hazards.
Of hazards that can really hurt some people's teams.
Now, big problem here that I just noticed about the Red Rockies. Tentacruel, you don't want to run spin on every week. You want to be able to run it offensive. You want to be able to run it fast. You want to be able to run it as a pure special wall. You can't do that when you have a Victini and it's your only form of hazard removal. Victini needs hazard removal every week.
You have to bring Victini and Tentacruel. If you're going to bring Victini, you're going to have to put Tentacruel.
And it has to be a spinner. Like, I'm not opposed to having to bring Tentacruel every week, because Tentacruel is an amazing mon. I don't like having to bring it. Having to bring it as a spinner hurts it. Especially, like...
It hurts the Victini more than a Tentacruel.
Like, because you look at the Victini. Victini's a nuke button. Like, okay, so say if he runs a special Victini, say, like a Specs or a Scarf special Victini, it doesn't necessarily need removal. It's something I found. The only type of Victini the only type of Victini I found that needs removal every time is a V create, but more often than not, you want to be running V creates. It's like I just see this team. Certain mons get trapped into specific roles. Like Victini is a dedicated boomstick, but it can be any kind of boomstick, so it's fine. But you look at what was it? Sylveon has to wish fast into Celesteela, otherwise Celesteela gets worn down, unless it's offensive Celesteela. If it's offensive Celesteela, Mega Venusaur has to run Fizz Def. Crocodile has to run Rapid Spin. If he wants Rock, Tentacruel has to run Rapid Spin. If Crook wants to be a rocker, it has to be a rocker, because that's his only one. Something I want to point out, Mimikyu as a tier 4 is a massive budget pick. That was a great late round pickup.
And I already talked about why I picked the LA Lake Guardians for third place.
Yes, we both agree that team was just a bunch of monsters that could sweep a team.
That's mainly the reason. In my first place, which I'm really debated between the Reggie Rockets, the LA Guardians, and this team.
So
first place.
May I talk about my number 2 real quick first? And my number 2 was the New York Gliscors, a team you had a lot lower, and the reason I had the Gliscors was at number 2 instead of, where did you have them again? Can you please look?
I had them at let's see, what did I have them at? At 8th place.
8th, yeah. So I'm looking at it, and the reason I love it is because this team, similarly to how we talked about the Torcats, were able to set up Mega Wop to sweep every week. This team does the same thing for Manaphy. Ninetales Alolan sets up its screens for it. He's got Zebstrika, which absorbs any electric hit. Crobat does the same with the grass. It's technically not immune, but it gets recovery and it's 4 times resisted, so it's essentially immune. Same with Ferrothorn. And then he's got, 4 T-Wavers, I think. Uh, he's got a great rocker, great stashes. So this entire team, all it does to me, and he's got pivoting into his Manaphy as well. So all this team does, sets it up, gets into Manaphy, and Manaphy gets free setup and outspeeds everything and sweeps.
Yeah, this team is pretty much built around Manaphy just to put in work.
Yeah. He perfectly built around Manaphy to sweep, and that's something. I'm just looking at the team, like,
Yeah,
two teams did a perfect.
This is
There
good.
were two teams that did a perfect one mod, and those two teams were my number 3 and number 2, because that's something I really admire when I look at a draft. One mod is going to be your kill leader each week, and that's fine because you built a team that allows that to work. So, what did you have for your number 1 pick? Drum roll, please.
My number
Go on.
My number 1 place is Minnesota Monfernos, which I kind of debated, but that's where I ended up putting it. Did you have?
This is the team I had in 10th, correct? Yeah. I had this team in 10th place, so why don't you talk about why you had them up there? Yeah.
First, who did you have first place?
I had their week 1 opponent and your number 12 seed, I believe, the Bristol City Bayonets.
12, but
So, and they play each other week 1.
actually pretty funny though how both of our first place are going against each other first week.
Yep. So we'll see who picked the right number 1 seed. We'll see.
It's just who will play better.
Yeah. So
my number 1 or your number 1?
So why did you have Monferno so high? First thing I like to say, I love Gabsol. Amazing pick.
The way I see it, it has lots of essential typings from just the way I see it here.
Well, yeah, they've got their Firewater Grass. I'm looking. They've got Fairy.
They already have Dragon Fairy Steel.
Fairy Dragon Steel. The Fairy Dragon Steel.
Hard hitting with mixed bulky offense too.
Yep. Great speed
Rockers,
tiers.
from what I see, we have Claydol, Bronzong. Does Reggie? That's not really a lot, but Nidoqueen. Does Claydol get rocks? No, yeah, Claydol does.
Yeah,
but
Claydol
what about
gets
Reggie?
rocks.
I don't think Regice does.
I'm not sure, but I don't see him bringing Regice too often. The only way, I think the only reason he brings Regice is to tank hits from a special ice type. Which is something his team did need. If you look at his team, like, that was the reason I had him so low, is because of his ice weakness that he has a little bit.
And he only has 2 actually good resist here.
Yeah, and Rotom Wash.
Other than Rotom and Infernape.
Yeah, well, Infernape I don't consider a resist because it's frail. I was looking at Bronzong for a second. But anyways, it's kind of interesting because just running one ice move can't cover it, but you run any dual stab ice move, you might be able to run through his team, and that's something that scared me. But I mean, you look at it, he also has the great points. He has probably the best speed tiers in the league. He's got wall breakers, he's got set of sweepers, he's got walls, he's got everything a team could ask for, except maybe hazard removal. But so, and then did you have anything else you wanted to add about why you had him as your number 1 team?
No, not really that much. I mean, he has Magic Bounce. That's pretty good. I have just one. Not many hazard.
Where does
not
Magic
many
Bounce?
hazard.
This is Magic. Oh, Mega Absol. Duh. I always forget that thing has Magic Bounce. Oh my gosh.
Forget that. Not Umbreon. Espeon has Magic Bounce.
I always remember Espeon. I always just forget Mega Absol. Just because I think
Leech
offensive
Seed
mod.
and Stealth Rock, and I'm just like, wait, why isn't it on the field? Then I realize it's on my field, and I just used it on a Magic Bouncer. Just like, why does it get that? But my only issue here is that it doesn't have many hazard removal. I mean, it has clay doll, which
Yeah.
it's only good one here. Salamence does not like defog. Braviary probably, but
Braviary,
no,
it's a
they're
good
down the
defogger,
team.
but you don't want it to be a defogger unless you're running. Like, okay, so if you come up against a team that, say, doesn't have a great steel type, then you can run mono attacking Braviary with defog and Roost and Filler. Certain team matchups, Braviary is a very situational defogger. But Salomon, again, you never want it to be a defogger, but if it has a really bad matchup, which it's rare, but you always have 1 or 2 games a year where Salamence will have a bad matchup, then you can run that as your defogger. But Claydol, it's good at being a spinner. It's decent at being a rocker. That's all it does. And that's something I think he might have trouble with. Like, he tries to spin to make sure his men's can get in and sweep. And say the Washington Weaviles bring their Lando T and set up a rock polish and win. Or the Giratina.
Let's also not forget here, Claydol can set up screens, I think.
Oh, okay. That's pretty good, but
like that kind of gets rid of some stuff here.
But then here's your problem. You say you have screens, right? So you have to have rapid spin on it.
Yes.
That's pretty much his best rocker, besides maybe Nidoqueen. Oh, Bronzong. I forgot about Bronzong, but still. You probably
also
want
Infernape. Infernape can be a good rocker.
I don't like Infernape as a rocker. But that's just me personally. But then he runs dual screens. That's all 4 of his moves. He doesn't have an attacking move. He doesn't have Toxic. I'm worried that it'll be setup fodder for him, if that's his only removal. But anyways, moving on to my number 1, because we are going pretty dang long here.
I don't have that much here.
I had the Bristol City Bayonets, which you had at your number 12 seed, and
I had it at number 8, I think. Either 8 or 6. Or I forgot which one. No guarantee.
I thought you.
I'll bet 9.
Nice. I thought you had pretty low. The Bristol City Bayonets, and you look at the team. First off, the cores on this team have the best cores in the league. Fairy Dragon Steel is Heatran, Togekiss, Megalodios. Megalodios also produces the Bulky Psychic type, which is huge. A Bulky Psychic type is not weak to knockoff. And then Latios, not funny.
Megalodios can actually deal a bit with Megalopony.
Yeah.
Consider as a bulky psychic type.
Yeah, Latios is great bulky psychic type, but it can work.
I say Latios. Which one is Latios?
He's got Latios.
Latios.
It can, like, Latios isn't the greatest bulky, but I think it can work with bulky. And it can also be very opposite. And he's got same Fairy Dragon Steel Core. And you look at his Fire Water Breath, it's a lot more budget. But he's got Heatran, Decidueye. Actually, he doesn't look like he has a bird type. Oh, Vaporeon. He's got, I don't know, that's an insanely good bird type. He's got Vaporeon, Heatran, and Decidueye as Fire Water Grass, or probably the best Fire Water Grass corn in the league. And then he's got Necrozma as his true bulky type, which filter. Yeah, I can deal with it. It's got the filter. It's got set up on both sides, evident speed. Necrozma's an insane mon. He got the Alolan Muck, which means he has a great platoon trapper that can deal with fairies, which is rare. Because most pursuit trappers lose fairies. The only ones
Yeah.
that don't are the only other fairy. I mean, the only other pursuit trappers that don't I lose to fairy are sometimes Tyranitar depending on team matchup, and Snow Valley, which some people don't consider Snow Valley a great pursuit trapper. I love it, others don't. But the thing that ties this team together, because you look at it, it doesn't have anything fast. Then you look at Ditto. The Ditto is perfect for this team because it pulls up his speed tiers to whatever his opponent's fastest spawn is, theoretically. And so, let's take a look at your number 1 speed. Who did you have in the 1 seed again? The Monfernos, yes. So you look at the Monfernos, and they have Mega Absol. You copy up a Mega Absol at +2 has been weakened, and you outspeed it. All of a sudden, Monfernos have Infernape if you lock yourself into a dark move, assuming it's Scarf, and that's it. You weaken your Infernape and Ditto can sweep him. Like, because of the way he built his team, Ditto topping off that speed tiers really works. So, you could argue he didn't have the greatest tiers, but I love the way he topped them out. And so, anyways, yeah, that's, I think we're about done. Any final thoughts on the teams?
Just in my head.
Who even had the Sneasel?
That's about it. That's it.
Alright, so thanks for watching, guys. Tell me what you guys thought about the teams in the comments below, and we will see you next week, the Week 1 Power Rankings. Metagross out.